Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Indie Game Movement, the podcast that talks about the marketing and business of indie games. I'm Andrew Pappas, going to be your host today, and this is episode 251, and we're kicking off season 2 with how to properly market to cultural audiences. Now, some people may think that marketing to cultural audiences only involves partnerships and localizing your game. But to really cater and serve that audience, it starts with having a core understanding and how to best represent those people. That's why today, Osama Dorias shares his experiences and understanding of global gaming culture and how applying empathy and taking certain approaches can create numerous opportunities while better serving your audience. So that's what we're going to be talking about right here today on Indie Game Movement. Hey everyone, and we're back, and today I have such a great guest with me too that I'm very happy because I've been talking with this awesome guy for a while now, and I finally got him on the show, and it's Osama Dorias. Hey buddy, thank you so much for being here on the show with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Andrew. I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, before we get into anything, I just want to take a moment for you to introduce yourself, what you have done for the games community, what you do for work, and also just please take a moment and share any fun activities, hobbies, or things you do when you have spare time.
Absolutely. Okay, so my name is Osama Dorias, as you said. I'm the lead game designer at WB Games in Montreal, currently working on Gotham Knights. I also teach game design at Dawson College. I'm the co-founder of the Montreal Independent Game Awards. We took a break because of COVID, but hopefully we'll be back soon. I'm no longer the co-director. I'm involved in the Game Awards, but that has passed on to other people. I do other things as well. I'm the chair of the Muslim Games Special Interest Group for the IGDA, the International Game Developers Association. I've been involved in game jams and workshops. I was part of Game Loop, which is a gaming event. I mentor for a whole bunch of different associations, usually related around video games, but not always. So I'm active. I'm involved in the community, and I'm happy to be so. In terms of personal things and hobbies, I love to pick up new hobbies. I don't always keep with them. Currently, I've really had a lot of fun cooking. Okay. Coming up with I just recently I've made butter chicken that's to die for. I made coconut shrimp curry that was delicious. Different things. So I've been experimenting with that. Also picked up biking after a long time of not biking. I got a nice bike and just go around town, different locations, and having a lot of fun with that. And I'm thinking about picking up a musical instrument again. It's been a while. I used to play a little bit of guitar, a little bit of keyboard, and I miss it. So we'll see. My consistent hobby has been I make video games and board games with my kids. I love doing that. We make them together. They are the target audience. They're the creative leads. I'm kind of there just to make sure the rules work. So yeah, that's me.
That's awesome. I love here now I'm hungry. But
I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's funny. I think a lot of people have been kind of picking up a few more things lately. I mean, obviously COVID is part of that, but just in general, myself, I've been really into trying to make my own Caesar dressing, traditional Caesar dressing from scratch. It's been a trip to get it right. But anyways, your stuff sounds way more interesting than a salad dressing. But no, that's really cool. But more importantly, just the type of activities and things that you have been doing with the community is just awesome to hear. And in a moment, it's a little bit of why we're here today to have this discussion. But before we get into that, and again, thank you so much for sharing that. And plus, the stuff with the kids sound amazing. I might need to do that sometime actually with my kids because, but I don't know if they're ready to because let's just say they may have a limited attention span. But it's probably good to try that out sometime. I like your.
After the podcast, if you'd like to talk about it, I got my kids started when they were 3 and 5, so I believe you can and they had very low attention spans as well. I have a couple of pointers if you want to hear about it.
All right, I am down. So cool. All right, but as I mentioned, there's some cool things that we want to talk about around some of Osama's background. But before we get to that, we're going to go through the Q-Box round. And for those of you who aren't familiar, Q-Box round is just a series of random questions I prepared to ask Osama. So, Osama, are you ready to enter the Q-Box round?
I'm ready.
All right. Crayons, colored pencils, or Sharpies?
Colored pencils. They're versatile. They're good at drawing outlines and coloring in between them.
Ah, nice. What was your childhood favorite game?
I'd say Street Fighter 2. I started playing it with my brothers and sisters at a very young age, and I never stopped.
Nice. If you could be any Power Ranger, what would it be?
It's a funny question because actually, I'm probably older than you think. Power Rangers was a thing that kind of got started when I was already in my late teens, so I never really got into it. I don't think I've ever seen a full episode. So judging on aesthetics only, I'd say Green Ranger, but I have no idea what's behind the mask.
Yeah, that's funny. I think I would go with Green or White Ranger, and I don't know. I think with me myself, I never really watched Power Rangers either. My sister did for some odd reason.
Yeah, my sister and my brother did as well. They were younger. Yeah, I was more of a Ninja Turtles generation.
Yep, same here. There you go.
Yeah, and Transformers before that.
Nice. What's one thing that motivates you every day?
The desire to make things better for the next generation, whether that's like for my kids or my students or like juniors getting into the games industry, just making things better than what I had to go through.
Nice. And what game are you playing right now? I'm
playing the Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I've played all 3 Mass Effects in the past. I'm a fan, but I'm not what you would call a super fan because I played them once, and my memory of the games is really fuzzy now. So when they announced the Legendary Edition, I was super excited to refresh my memory.
Oh, sweet. You know what game I needed to do that with is the original Resident Evil, because I knew that game front, back. I studied the player's guide and everything and beat it under 2 hours so I could get infinite ammo with the rocket launcher.
That's incredible.
So I'd love to visit that one again. But no, that's
a good choice. Yeah, the remaster has really good reviews. I haven't played it yet either. It's on my list.
Oh yeah, I need to check that out. But I
played the original. I played the original as well, and but not a super fan like you are. I just really liked it at the time. It's fuzzy in my memory. I have to go back and play it again.
Yeah, but
I am a super fan of a lot of older games, just not those 2.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I haven't played any of the Mass Effects, and I know. But at some point,
it's okay. I don't judge. There are a lot of games that come out. We do not have time to play all the good games out there. It's impossible, especially now more than ever.
Oh yeah.
But this is your chance to pick it up. It's a masterpiece. The first game is the worst of the 3, in my opinion. Everyone has different opinions, but it's the hardest one to get through. But with the changes in the Legendary Edition, I think it'll be easier for people playing it for the first time.
Sweet. Well, good to know. All right. Well, thank you so much for going through the Q-Box round and sharing a little bit more interesting side of your background and everything from a very random perspective. So, all right, cool. Well, now we're going to get into our core topic today, and that is how to properly market to cultural niches. Now, specifically, though, I wanted to define this a little bit more because, when it comes to marketing, right, and you've heard on the time and time again on this show is knowing your audience. So that's kind of what I really want to focus this conversation off. And to kick that off, my question here is, basically the world has already become a global gaming culture. And because of this, it's more important than ever to think about the types of games we're creating and how we market them. So why is this so important to think about what we're creating for games?
So it's in my opinion, it's always been important. It's just something that was mostly overlooked. One thing to keep in mind is that whenever you grow up and live in an area, your view of what other areas do, especially other countries, is going to be extremely skewed. It was quite a while, not that long ago, actually, a few years ago, that I realized that fighting games, if you take them as an example, because I mentioned Street Fighter, I love fighting games. I've been playing them forever. They are not popular in the same regions as, like, their popularity in different regions varies greatly. Like, I only heard about King of Fighters something like 10 years ago. I didn't even know it was a franchise that existed up until about 10 years ago. Now I play it, and it's a lot of fun. I was shocked to learn that in South America, King of Fighters in many areas was bigger than Street Fighter. Like, historically, was bigger than Street Fighter. Same thing with the Middle East and Southeast Asia when it comes to Tekken. Tekken was bigger than Street Fighter there. Mortal Kombat always felt like it was the challenger to Street Fighter. It's always Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat. But no, Mortal Kombat is pretty big in North America, but it wasn't that big in other regions and other areas, depending on where you go. So just that, like, depending where you grow up, your like a brand is very different. Like, how much space it takes up in your head and your in terms of its influence is varies wildly. Where we could have some franchises that we've never heard of being more popular in other countries. We're kind of aware of what's popular in Japan, at least me growing up, like my age demographic. We always looked to see what games were popular there. And I did my fair share of importing games that didn't get released here. And the rest of the world was, like, a void. I had no idea. And it took me meeting people, like, it took the internet, of course, to make it a little bit easier, but it took me meeting people from different parts of the world and asking about their experiences to realize how these games just had different breakthroughs in different places. And we're starting to see that now. Like, if you look at, if you take fighting games as an example, you're starting to see games that were traditionally very popular in some areas only recently start including characters in their rosters from those areas they were popular in a long time ago. Like, something happened just a little while ago where people woke up to that realization that, hey, maybe people in those territories, maybe we could lean into representing them more. Maybe that'll make them, like, lean into our games more. So we have, like, Shaheen and Arab, like Arab fighter from the Gulf in Tekken as an example, or Rashid in Street Fighter, and those are new additions. And other games have been, like, more recently doing that as well. Like, I say more recently, it's been a few years, but Anna and Farah and Overwatch are really good examples of Arab representation there that I had never seen to that degree and to that fidelity before in a high production video game ever. And it's no coincidence that Overwatch is extremely popular right now in the Middle East, right? It's no coincidence that when you allow people to see themselves in a game, that they're going to gravitate to it. And moving a little bit away from, like, I already moved away with Overwatch from fighting games, but if you take the example of League of Legends, the more recent character Samira is another step in that direction, where a game that was super popular in a region is finally getting someone who kind of looks like they could be from that region. So it's always been important. It's only been neglected. And I feel right now people are waking up to the fact that people like different things in different areas, in different regions of the world. And if you have a more diverse, especially for games, all the games I've been giving as examples are games with rosters, because that's an easy example. But if you give them options, whether that's a roster character or anything you could think of that fits your game, they're more likely to play your game. And that's what it's all about, right? For marketing, It's all about having more people, like, engage in your content, and that's it.
Yeah, and you know what? I really like how you led in with that, the fighting game example, because it's just or anything essentially with a roster lineup, right? Because it's very defined in terms of, like, hey, this is a format we're used to where there's a list of characters and what areas do these characters represent. I mean, when you were saying that, I was already envisioning the world map with Street Fighter and, like, the plane going across to where you're going to fight.
Classic, exactly, traditional. And it also works the other way. Like, I didn't delve too much into it, but, like, from what I understand, and the Battlefield franchise has been historically more popular than the Call of Duty franchise in the Middle East and Southeast Asia. And one of the reasons for that is because even though they're both doing better now, Call of Duty was more notorious at misrepresenting